You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right, Biden Docu-Gate is getting deeper and deeper for the Bidens. Joe Biden is in more trouble than the media is letting on, okay? Every hour, there's been a new development in this story. There's been a lot of new developments, including a new one that just happened, just broke. It's on Breitbart. I'm going to read the story in just a moment, but I want to just give a little background so that this will make sense, okay? Mm-hmm. A lot's happened. I've covered a whole bunch on this story this week on the radio, and this one is huge. This guy has been living a life of crime, Joe Biden, and now it's coming back home. Okay, so just to do a quick recap of the documents, I'm not going to go through all the developments, just the documents, because there's a little bit about the documents you need to know to have context for this latest development. So the first set of documents were found at his fake think tank, right, in the closet. Then there have been documents, classified documents, that Biden was illegally in possession of. It's been reported that he stole them from the Obama White House.
Oh, boy.
That were in his Delaware house. There's at least two sets of documents, maybe three, because it's a little vague. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have the one set of classified documents in the garage. Biden, in the press conference the other day, confessed that there were more documents in his office library inside his house. That was at the end of the week last week. And then over the weekend, it was reported that there were five more documents, classified documents, that were found at the Delaware house. It's unclear whether those five documents are the documents Biden was talking about in his office library at home or not. So there's either at least two sets of documents at home, maybe three. And he was talking about how secure they are. We've seen the open boxes of the documents in the garage next to the Corvette and all that. But then something came out that, and this is not the new thing yet. New thing's coming, okay? Then it came out that for a period of time, while the classified documents were in the Delaware house, Hunter Biden was renting the house from Joe for a very odd amount of money. And he was renting the house, which means the documents were even less secure because they were in this house being rented by this drug addict who brings Russian hookers home and everything all of the time. And of course, with the Russian hookers come the Russian pimps and all that stuff, very dangerous. But the amount that Hunter was paying in rent was not only an odd amount, it was a large amount. So he was paying per month to rent Joe's house, Pop's house. Hunter was paying $49,910, which of course is a lot of money in rent, and it's an odd number. So
there's a reason it's below 50 and just below.
Well, 50. No, there's a reason why it's $49,910. That's the new development, which I'm going to get to in a minute.
Okay.
So obviously, this incredibly excessive amount of rent for this house was part of the money laundering operation. This is how Hunter, when he would get paid by all these crooked deals he was doing for Pops, this is one of the ways he would get the money to Joe. This was this rent of this house that he was paying is a money laundering scheme, okay? So why was it $49,910 a month? Well, now we know. Breitbart, listen to this. In an email dated October 13th, 2017, Cecilia Browning, the general manager of House of Sweden, an office complex in Washington, D.C., emailed Hunter about a lease that Hunter and his Chinese business partners were trying to terminate. According to the emails unearthed from Hunter's laptop from hell, right? This is the laptop has that laptop must have had like a 10 terabyte drive in it or something. There's so much in it. Browning notes the amount of the deposit for the office space was $49,910, and that it would be returned to Hunter Biden upon signing a lease termination document. Okay, so Hunter Biden's monthly rent of $49,910 matches the rental deposit at the House of Sweden that's connected to the Biden crooked business deal that they had with the Chinese energy company. Hunter's $49,910 deposit also matches the amount of money he logged on a 2018 background check document unearthed by Miranda Devine. So this amount has something to do with this crooked Chinese energy company deal.
Yeah, that's definitely not a coincidence.
That's right. And it's more proof that now Hunter is an idiot, okay? I know Joe says he's the smartest man he's ever known. But if you read through...
I don't know, considering who Joe Biden has known in his life, that's not much of a stretch.
Yeah, well, he knew Barack...
he hangs out with Kamala.
He knows Barack Obama, and they always said that Barack Obama was the smartest man in the room. Remember those days?
Liberals are stupid.
So this is just absolutely amazing because this is, because of the dollar amounts and the rent and everything else, this is like the first public concrete proof that Hunter Biden was laundering money for Joe Biden with these fake jobs, and he was paying him back. I don't know how else, but $49,910 a month was being paid back in the fake rent to this house where all the classified documents are located. Yeah. Joe Biden is in more trouble, I think, than anyone realizes, even us as we're talking about this. This guy has been doing so many different crimes, and now everything's being exposed.
The truth always comes to light. Very few people go through their entire life committing these many crimes unscathed.
Yeah.
Things always come out in the end, and always at the opportune time. That's how God works, or some people believe in karma, but that's how the universe works. You reap what you sow. And it's interesting because they showed him when the reporters were talking to him the other day, and he was just sitting there blankly. You can see he's shutting down. He's shutting down. He can't handle this. It's too much.
And I know a lot of people are comparing what's going on to the Clintons and the servers. And there's a lot of similarities going on because the Clinton Foundation was a money laundering operation, okay? It was more organized than this. You know, they have like a corporate money laundering operation thing going on with the Clinton Foundation. This is Joe, Hunter, his brother, and Jill, and who knows.
It's a family affair.
Yeah, and it's not sophisticated. And see, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, when Bill Clinton left office, Hillary was a senator, right? And then later she was, Secretary of State. Bill Clinton was traveling the world giving speeches, and he was being paid unheard of amounts of money for these speeches at the time.
It's like Hunter with his artwork.
Yeah, he was being paid over $200,000 for 30-minute, 60-minute speeches. Yeah. And I remember at the time, these were being widely reported. They're like, well, he must really be saying something important. And we find out that they were doing things like Uranium One when Hillary Clinton brokered the deal to
their payoffs.
To give the Russians 20% of the U.S. uranium supply and things like this. Yeah, that was the money laundering operation of the Clintons. Yeah. They were doing whatever it was they were doing. She was in the Senate. She was Secretary of State. He was a former president, which had a lot of connections and juice. And they were taking the payoffs through the Clinton Foundation donations and speaking engagements.
Right.
With the Bidens, they don't have they had that think tank that took $60 to $70 million from the CCP, but most of these things were done like on handshakes, like crime bosses.
Well, he's not very smart at all, and
well, he's sleazy,
and he's a pathological liar. And when you're that way, you lose track of your lies. And I'm sure he lies to everybody, and makes promises and does things, and eventually catches up with you. And another problem the Bidens have that the Clintons didn't have is nobody likes the Bidens. The Clintons still have very loyal people. But at the time when he was in office, I know the media went after him because there was a sex scandal and they couldn't resist. I mean, that's the press.
Yeah.
But in Washington, the Clintons have very loyal people that are still very loyal to them. They still wield a lot of power, I think, believe it or not, and the Obamas. But I don't think the Bidens have that kind of loyalty. In fact, I think a lot of people can't stand Joe. He's a jerk. Mm-hmm. He's nasty and mean, and I don't think he wields that kind of loyalty, that deep loyalty that the Clintons and the Obamas have at all. And that's working against him because they're all throwing him under the bus. And you were talking about on the radio this morning, because we've all been trying to figure out why did this leak, because they found these documents in November. All of a sudden it's coming out. And somebody had sent us an interview that Obama did a few years ago where he said he would love to have somebody, a front man, where he could be on the phone with them, pushing all the buttons and controlling everything and have his third term. He actually said that. And I think what's happened is has been behind the scenes, the man behind the curtain the whole time, but he lost control of Biden.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way, he's lost control, and he wants to replace him with somebody else, probably Kamala. Obviously, she's the VP. She will do whatever Obama tells her, whatever, because she's stupid.
Yeah.
And she probably idolizes him. They're friends. She will do whatever he says. And this is his way of continuing his legacy in his mind.
That's right.
And with Biden, he's getting too much pushback. So how do you get rid of somebody politically like that with a political scandal? But I honestly don't think Biden will resign. I think he's too arrogant. And they would have to charge him with criminal charges, which I can never see happening. I can never see that happening. You never know, but come on. I just cannot see this guy resigning over this.
It's not that they're not going to criminally charge any president except Trump, right?
But you think he'll resign, Biden?
I think he'll resign because they're going to start to go after Hunter. The story I just shared with you is the first
to protect his son.
First time that Hunter is really being connected to this classified document scandal publicly, officially, and in the news. And so I think they're going to use Hunter. It's not going to be quick. It's going to get worse for the Bidens.
It is. You know, we watch a lot of true crime, and they talk about how criminals, their behavior escalates.
Yeah.
They get away with one thing, and then the next crime, they're more brazen.
Yep.
And then they get away with that, and then they're even more brazen. And this has been going on for decades, this type of behavior from the Biden family.
50 years.
And they've gotten just more and more and more brazen because they've never been held accountable. They've never gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
And one thing we know for sure, Obama does not like Joe Biden. He never has. He thinks he's a doofus, and he is. And he thinks he's a bigot, which he is. He only had him on his ticket because of the unions. That was the only reason. It's kind of like Kennedy with Johnson.
Yeah.
He only had him to deliver certain areas like the South. So that's one of those political arrangements where they really hated each other. And I believe that he just thinks he's a complete boob, which he is. And he has no friendship or loyalty to him at all. And he has no problem throwing him under the bus. And you said the connection is this lawyer that was Biden's White House lawyer. And then right before or right after,
let me explain what you're talking about.
Because there's a connection with Obama here.
Biden's lawyer, he's got a lady lawyer, personal lawyers with a big-time D.C. firm. She was the White House counsel, right, which is the top lawyer job in Washington, D.C., next to Attorney General. She was the White House counsel. In July, she resigned and became Biden's private attorney, and then she went out seeking out all these documents, and she works for Obama. Obama married her to her husband. Okay, he was like, they didn't have a priest.
Did somebody tip her? Did Obama tip her off? Did he say, I think he took stuff?
I don't know something happened. We don't know what happened.
Joe Biden's got a big
We don't know
mouth.
what happened. Something happened that put a lot of things in motion.
That's right.
And what I've been talking about this week, as things develop, what I believe happened is I think Obama is behind this entire thing with Biden.
I think so.
He's the one leaking everything to the press, and it's over for Biden. It's going to get rough because Biden's been involved in corruption in D.C. since he's been there for half a century, since Nixon was president.
I think he'll definitely get impeached at minimum.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely get impeached at minimum.
But that doesn't mean much anymore. They impeach Trump every other Tuesday and everything. But Biden feels invincible because he's gotten away with crime for half a century. And, Jill Biden, I know she seems like a librarian, but she's like a mob wife. She's just as involved as he is.
Yeah, what's the name of Tony Soprano's wife? She's
Mrs. Soprano.
No, her first name, though. Carmen
I can't
not
remember.
Carmen, I can't, but she's like her.
That's right.
Edie
Falco. That's right.
Yeah. She loves the lifestyle. She's exactly like her. She knows what's going on. She controls the strings more than you realize. She enjoys the lifestyle it awards her, and she turns her head to what's really happening. I'm not saying he's doing what Tony Soprano did exactly, but it's a similar. You can make some similarities here.
Now, I am still under the weather. You could probably tell a little bit by my voice.
Yeah, a little nasal.
But Yeah, I got a little congestion going on. Kathy and I are very far away. Kathy has a microphone that has the longest microphone cord that I own, which is about, 15-foot long microphone cord, so I'm not breathing on her. And I've been sleeping on the couch all week because I don't want to get Kathy sick. And when I'm sleeping on the couch, I don't have my 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. And let me tell you, I am missing it a lot. The 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper, if I could only have one MyPillow product, it would be the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper. And that's saying a lot because everything he has is great. But if I could only have one, it would be the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper because it perfectly aligns your entire body when you're sleeping. All those pressure points are aligned. It's perfect. It also regulates your body temperature, and it's absolutely amazing. And sleeping without it for 2 nights now, this will be the 3rd night because I'm still sick. I am feeling it in my body. I'm tossing, I'm turning, I'm not sleeping the whole night through because I don't have that mattress topper. Once I get back into bed and I get over this cold, I'll be sleeping like a baby. I can't wait.
You're not allowed back till you're completely cold.
Well, that's okay. I won't be sleeping until I'm cold free. But if you go to mypillow.com and use our promo code at checkout, Kane, Kane, you can get the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper for 40% off. That's a great deal. It's a better deal than we got on ours. But if I paid full price, I'd be happy. If it was full price, I'd buy it if I didn't have one. It's that good. It will change your life. So go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and you'll see the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper is 40% off when you use our promo code at checkout, Kane, Kane. All right, we're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a romantic tale. Friends turn into toxic acquaintances. I give you The Shoreline on South Beach, written by author Jamel Rogers. Live on Amazon right now and available on all formats, including hardcover, paperback, and Kindle ebook. Order your copy of The Shoreline on South Beach from author Jamel Rogers on Amazon and start reading right away. Add some warmth and personality to your home with a throw blanket from Throw Blanket Wall Art. Throw blankets make it easy to add the cozy finishing touches to your home decor. Throw blankets from Throw Blanket Wall Art are made of 100% high-quality cotton. They're made to order, carefully woven, and shipped straight to your doorstep. When you visit their online store at throwblanketwallart.com, browse their selection of beautiful throw blankets, like their best-selling botanical woven throw blanket, their boho floral throw blankets, butterfly and cat blankets, and many more stunning designs and patterns. Every blanket is extra durable and machine washable. You can use them as an outdoor throw on your patio, a wall tapestry, a couch throw, or bedspread. They're good as a beach or picnic blanket too. It's up to you. Throw blankets are a fun and stylish way to stay comfortable, and they make the perfect thoughtful gift for someone special in your life. Home is where your blanket is. Shop the gorgeous throw blankets from Throw Blanket Wall Art. Visit throwblanketwallart.com to order yours right now. throwblanketwallart.com. Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story that's full of colorful characters and wisecracking wise guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool, from author Robert Allen Miltenberg, available on Amazon. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. All right, now there's a lot of stuff going on in Davos, this World Economic Forum, which I don't normally pay much attention to, but it's so wacky this time.
It's really wacky.
I've got some audio that I picked up today that I'm going to get to in a few minutes. But something happened earlier on MSNBC, okay, involving Biden and Trump. And, what's going on, a lot of the media, the White House press corps are all over Jean-Pierre and Biden over this document scandal. But some people in the media are trying to create other stories and other scandals to get to divert away from what's going on, okay? And
they're desperate to get the press off something.
Yeah, so
onto something else.
Yeah, so Nicole Wallace, who's supposedly a Republican, she worked for John McCain.
Well, he wasn't a real Republican, so.
Yeah. So Nicole Wallace, she's on MSNBC, and she brings up this total BS story that's in another anti-Trump book about what Biden did in the first moments that he was president to protect himself from what Trump might do. And
whatever.
And yeah, listen to this. This is
how pathetic.
I know, it's crazy. This is just one of those diversion stories.
Yeah.
But the reason I share it's in this new book that's out. But the reason I share it is these people on MSNBC. It's like a comic book over there.
Yeah,
it's like a woke comic book.
My brother watches
anti-Trump
MSNBC.
porn.
Yeah, he watches it only. That's all he watches. And I don't discuss politics with him anymore. He'll start, and then I just kind of change the subject. The things he says are so wackadoo. I mean, they accuse our side of having crazy ideas. There's some, I'll give you that. Their side is even crazier with some of the radical thoughts they have about Trump and the things that they really believe. It's insane. Yeah. The stuff he really believes it too.
Yeah.
They're nuts.
If you watch MSNBC, you got to understand that their core base audience believe the things they hear.
Absolutely.
Over there. And it's crazy. So this is Nicole Wallace talking about the Biden transition team when he was president-elect and Trump. All right, this is nuts. Listen.
With some incredible new reporting on the extreme steps the incoming Biden administration took behind the scenes to prepare for the possibility that Trump would attempt a military-style coup in order to block the peaceful transfer of power. From that new book, quote, Biden's team anticipated obstruction, delays in getting personnel in place, and a concerted effort to impede the transfer of power. And much worse, they prepared for, quote, unconventional challenges, of which there were too many to count, including this ominous possibility, quote, an increase in the level and intensity of social protesting and government response. According to Biden's transition chairman, that was the, quote, euphemism of the year. Government response was code for Trump sending troops into the streets, perhaps declaring martial law. No one in the Biden camp would say publicly that they feared Trump might stage a coup.
Okay.
She sounds like a Kardashian.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she? So, yeah. So
stupid.
So I know what's in the book, but it's not credible. So Trump was going to have the military in the street. He was going to call up General Milley, who was going to bring the military into the streets.
Meanwhile, he wrote him a very nice letter, Biden said. Presidents leave letters for each other. Biden said he wrote him a very nice and gracious letter congratulating him and all that stuff. So that's what happened. It was fine. But liberals live in a fantasy world. They don't live in reality. You know what I mean?
If he was going to, if Trump was going to send the army into the streets, why did he take time to write this gracious letter and leave it in the Resolute desk for Biden?
Exactly.
Wouldn't he be dealing with his generals to get them into the streets at that time?
Exactly.
I mean, come on, Nicole Wallace.
BS.
Now, Byron Donalds, our up-and-coming Republican, they hate him on the left, right? They hate him.
Is this the black guy?
Yeah, he's the black guy.
Because he's black conservative.
Black Republican. They're out there bringing him down. Well, Kathy, his name's Byron. You ever known a white guy named Byron?
No, that's true.
I've never known a white guy named Byron. There must be one.
No, I've never known a white guy.
Never known a white guy named Byron. No, but I'm sure there's one somewhere. But watch, somebody will write in the comments, I'm white and my name's Byron. Okay, well, you're the one. But anyway, the CNN goes to Byron Donalds and starts talking about Santos. And there's such weird stories coming out about Santos and these lies. There's some guy says he stole his shirt. Someone says he had a fake crowdfunding campaign where he made a couple $1,000s for veterinarian treatment for a dog that never happened. All kinds of strange stories.
What's worse, the lies that Santos told or the lies about Santos?
These Santos stories, it's getting, I mean, he's as adventurous as Forrest Gump.
I'm telling you, exactly.
You know, I mean, this guy, you know, and I know that he tells tall tales. I'm not even sure he's gay because he says he's gay and he's got this husband.
Nobody lies more than Joe Biden,
but
okay,
he was
with his stories.
But Santos was married until a couple years ago to this woman from South America who's a beautiful woman. She's like a South American model-looking woman. So
she could have a penis.
I don't think she does, and I know his husband does. So I don't even know if he's gay. But I would rather have.
Who cares?
Exactly. I would rather have a lying Republican in the House than any Democrat.
As long as he votes to.
That's right.
To do what we need to do.
That's all we need.
Investigate the
I just don't care.
Bidens and stop the spending. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I mean.
So listen to this.
Yeah.
So this CNN reporter, he stops Byron Donalds in the hallway, in the congressional hallways outside of his office, and starts talking to him about Santos and what should happen with Santos. And Byron Donalds is answering, and it's kind of generic and uninteresting. And then he drops something at the end, Byron Donalds, to CNN that they don't want it. They really didn't want this to go out over the air. They should not do these interviews, especially live. Listen to this.
In this country, you're still innocent until proven guilty. There have been members who've issues have come up in the past. They were allowed to be on their committees, be sat on committees. And then the legal process takes hold, and we make adjustments. So that's probably what's going to happen today.
Are you joining any of the members calling on him to resign?
No, I've been clear. I think that's something between him and his voters. It's unfortunate what has occurred. But, I mean, look, Richard Blumenthal, who's still a senator, lied about his service. He's still a senator today.
That's right. Remember, Blumenthal said that he had served in Vietnam.
That's right.
And then he didn't. And then he was in the service during Vietnam, but actually wasn't in Vietnam. So what he meant to say was he was a Vietnam era veteran.
Well, and that lie to me is worse than
anything
all
Santos
of the
has done.
lies supposedly Santos has told. Because that's stolen valor, and in a sense.
Yeah, and there's over 50,000 Americans who died on that wall. Their names on that Vietnam Memorial Wall.
He was probably an anti-Vietnam protester.
He was in the service during Vietnam, but he
probably was against
like,
it too.
He was like stateside. He didn't go to Vietnam, but he said he did go to Vietnam.
So he lied about that.
It's amazing to me.
That Byron guy, I've seen him in interviews. He's very bright, and he's very quick with the answers. And he was
zinger he slipped in.
He was on with Joy Reid, and she just would not let him talk. She just runs at the mouth because having a black conservative so close to her flipped her the hell out. I mean, she was really flipped out. Like, she literally just thinks he's an Uncle Tom, and she just cannot understand. And he was very calm. She was hysterical. He was very calm, and he sat there and just tried really hard to talk, and she just would not let him because she doesn't want to hear what he has to say because too much truth. She can't handle it.
Well, what happened with Joy Reid with Byron Donalds is I don't even know if I heard of him before he was nominated to be speaker. He seems vaguely familiar just because he's from Florida and we're in Florida. I think I've seen him in the news, but I didn't know anything about him. And he became very prominent after that because he did some interviews and he's rising. And what happened with Joy Reid?
I think he's got a bright future.
Yeah, what happened with Joy Reid is she got calls from all of her black Democrat friends who told her she had to bring him on and take him to the woodshed and humiliate him and end this because he's like you said, that he's an Uncle Tom. And she brought him on there. She couldn't do it because, well, she's a liberal and she's wrong on everything, and he's very good.
Well, liberals, you can always
he's very smart and good.
See when they start to panic when they're talking to somebody or interviewing somebody because they never let the person talk. They just say what they want to say, and they throw out a bunch of questions and accusations and name calling, but they never let the conservative answer or address what they're talking about. And that's a tactic they use on purpose, but it's also a reaction too. It's not just done on purpose. Sometimes it's just a reaction where they're so triggered and so upset over the idea of this person. They just can't handle it, and they can't have a civil discussion. And I see that with other people I talk to that are liberals. Yeah, and they very easily get very agitated very quickly. And when you, especially it happens when you start presenting facts to them that they do not want to hear. You'll see them get agitated. They go from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds flat. And they start to, and you can see it on their face, and they start to get really pissed off, and they're just like, then they try to overtalk you. That's a tactic they'll use. But, I am shocked Joy Reid is still on MSNBC, but she's probably still on there for the same reason Whoopi Goldberg is still on TV. And you know what I'm talking about. They're both bigots. Whoopi Goldberg is shocking to me. The things she has said about the Holocaust. The Holocaust is something you just do not criticize. It was a horrible, horrible event that happened in Europe and that we had to fight to stop. And slavery was horrible too, don't get me wrong, but the Holocaust is more of our time. A lot of us had grandparents that were in World War II. Your grandfather was in it. And, it still touches our generations.
It's a living memory.
It's a living memory. It's something still with that generations are affected by. It wasn't a couple hundred years ago. So people alive today still have a connection to that. And it's just something you don't talk about in the sense that you say it either didn't happen, or what Whoopi said, it wasn't about race. She said it once, then she got a bunch of backlash. People demanded her to be fired. Then she went on Colbert and groveled for forgiveness or whatever, some talk show. Then she said it again a couple weeks ago. People again, but she's still on The View. I mean, I don't believe in cancel culture, but if she was white, she would have been gone by now. I can promise you that, especially a conservative. Look at what happened, she would have been out of there.
Look what happened to Mel Gibson. He said something 20 years ago that was anti-Semitic.
At a police station. It wasn't even on TV.
On a traffic site. And he just got uninvited from an event from this one statement he made at a traffic stop
about Jews.
20 years ago.
Exactly.
And he got
about the Jewish people.
He got pulled over by an Asian police officer, and he asked the Asian police officer, "Are you a Jew?"
Well, he had just done the Passion of the Christ, too.
And he was drunk.
Yeah, I mean,
he was drunk. Mel Gibson.
And they always say that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people,
but that wasn't on
their
TV.
Jobs over things
that wasn't
like
on TV. Whoopi Goldberg's doing this stuff on TV. Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much, guys. And those of you that are Patreon supporters, your support helps us out a lot. It means a lot. And you should go to the Patreon page. There's a link to my Patreon page in the description of this episode and every episode. There's a direct link on my website, BrianCraigShow.com. And if you go to my website, you'll see it right there. The Patreon page, it's kind of looks like Facebook. It's the same kind of format as Facebook. It's just for our Patreon supporters. And we post things up there all the time that others don't see. Sometimes it's a video. Sometimes it's a photo. Sometimes it's comments. Kathy posts up there. I post up there. It's things we post nowhere else. Each podcast episode is uploaded to Patreon. For our Patreon supporters, as a commercial-free edition, you have access to commercial-free editions of all podcast episodes if you're a Patreon supporter. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Paulette, Carlos, and Dave. Almost dropped my phone right there on the tile floor. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. Now, after the next break, I'm going to get into some of this stuff that's happening in Davos at the World Economic Forum. But Steven Crowder did something yesterday, which I'm so glad he did, because it started a discussion on something that I've talked about.
Oh, yes. This was good.
From time to time over the years, and I've gotten a lot of heat for it. He recently left the Blaze, Steven Crowder, and he was offered a job with a. He didn't say the name of who it is, but
he was offered a job outside of the Blaze.
Yeah, he was offered a job outside the Blaze. He's left Glenn Beck's The Blaze. He was offered a job from another big conservative organization. He didn't say who, but it could only be one of a couple. There's only like two, like Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk's Turning Point. USA. I don't know of another that would rise to the level of the offer, and I think it was probably Ben Shapiro's, and it may have even been confirmed as Ben Shapiro's by this moment in time that you're listening to this. He was offered a contract, and he showed the contract. He put the contract on his social media, Steven Crowder, and he also talked about it on his program. He blacked out the name of the company that made the offer.
I wish he showed it.
And it's pretty detailed, and I'm not going to go through all the details of it. I'll just give you the bare bones of it and just a quick summary. And it's something you really got to be very careful of. And there's a lot of people out there that are fake conservatives and fake MAGA that have big conservative followings and big conservative movements. They're part of the establishment. The conservative Republican establishment is not really conservative. They're like in business like the Bidens. It's all corruption. They're about driving opinions. But Steven Crowder went through the terms of this contract, and it is so controlling about everything he says and does, with huge financial penalties if he doesn't do every little thing that they want him to do and say every little thing they want him to say.
People have to understand these conservative people that are very well known.
Some of them. Not all of them.
That work for these larger outlets, let's say. What their growth and what they say is not organic. They are told once they get in with that company, that it's like working for a corporation, probably even more so. It's like we're no different than working for Fox or CNN. You are told what to say, told what opinion to have. And if you look what happened with Candace Owens with Kanye, and I don't agree with her, but what she said in defending and Ben Shapiro, I'm sure she was highly penalized for that in a financial sense. She did not go through that unscathed. They might not have talked about it openly, but I'm sure something happened behind the scenes. But their growth is not necessarily organic. They have big money behind them. And what they say is not necessarily sincere.
What Steven Crowder revealed when he showed this contract, although he did black out the name of who it was from, but that's going to leak out because it can only be a couple people. Basically, all of the restrictions you hear that conservatives have to face from big tech, all of them, this conservative outlet has the exact same restrictions on content and everything. And there's many other things too. You guys can look it up. But what a lot of people are starting to call it now is, these big conservative movements, big con, because it's a con.
Yeah.
And they're big and they're conservative, and most of what they say and do, all of us would agree with. But they got another agenda, and the agenda is not really a conservative agenda. Or a MAGA agenda. They're the opposite of that. And what they're trying to do with Steven Crowder is what they did to Candace Owens. Steven Crowder has one of the largest followings of any conservative on the internet, if not the largest. And I remember when Candace Owens took that job with Ben Shapiro, I told you guys, I said, this is a big mistake. The Republican establishment don't like Candace Owens. She had her Blexit thing coming, which never really happened because COVID, but it could come back now, and it's not.
Yeah.
She was MAGA. Now she's anti-Trump. She's trashing Trump. Yeah. And they control her now.
Absolutely.
And they really took Candace Owens out of the prominent position. She's still famous and has influence, and everybody likes her, even though she's trashing Trump. A lot of us don't. I don't like her trashing Trump. But what I mean is they hired Candace away to control her and get her away from being MAGA. Now she's trashing Trump.
Well, and to profit off of her. He saw her as a rising star.
But it was more about
pretty.
But it was more about controlling her, and
I agree. But he's also making money off her brand.
It's okay to make money, but it was more about stopping this black MAGA movement she was doing. Steven Crowder, whoever gave him this contract, they're trying to do the same thing to Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder is very influential, very popular, maybe has the largest following of any conservative ever, certainly currently. And they're trying to, and now that he's a free agent from the Blaze, they're trying to buy him, to control him, control his content. And
why doesn't he just start his own media group?
Well,
Turning Point USA, he doesn't need these guys. He's big enough.
Obviously, he has plans, or he wouldn't have revealed this contract. because he burned that bridge when he revealed the contract.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty interesting thing. You got to be very, very careful. Now, listen, we're going to take our last break. When we get back, I'm going to get into some of this stuff happening in Davos at the World Economic Forum, which is just hilarious. I mean, these people are out of their mind. Remember, it started with John Kerry, but there's been a lot happening over there today we're going to get into. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Follow along a breathtaking journey of power, control, and a fight for freedom in the book Justina Szilagyi, Princess of Transylvania and Dracula's True Love, from author Petronella Pearson. Author Petronella Pearson takes you on a brilliantly descriptive and immersive journey into the life of a late 15th century princess as you watch her fight to break free from control and achieve her freedom. Discover the captivating story of Justina Szilagyi, Princess of Transylvania and Dracula's True Love. It's a remarkable tale filled with determination, romance, and adventure, drawing you into a story you won't want to put down. Step back in time as author Petronella Pearson weaves together a thrilling narrative, uncovering one of history's oldest stories from Transylvania. Pick up your copy of Justina Szilagyi, Princess of Transylvania and Dracula's True Love from author Petronella Pearson, available in Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now on Amazon. There's a key to achieving the life of your dreams. Learn how to unlock your full potential in the podcast Authentic Life Connection, hosted by Master Certified Life Coach and author Seth Lusk. Seth specializes in empowering you to find and live your most authentic and fulfilling life, based in your true purpose, values, and core sensitivities. He has a decade of experience working in the health, fitness, and nutrition industry, with degrees in human psychology, human nutrition, and exercise physiology. Seth Lusk is here to help you heal your life from the inside out so you can start living a fulfilling life. If you've been feeling lost or defeated in aspects of your life, let this be your sign to make steps in the right direction. Each episode will empower and educate you on topics you can use to make positive, impactful changes in your life. Experience the power of being strong, in control, and looking forward to whatever life has in store for you. Tune in to Authentic Life Connection with host Seth Lusk, available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform. Have you been searching for a fantasy book that's like none other? Have you felt like you've been reading the same boring book time and time again? From author Nathan Helm comes your next must-read book, Kingdom Society, The Black Hood, available on Amazon. Kingdom Society is an epic journey of family and friendship. Alieth and his sister Sindral are separated from their parents at a very young age when an ancient evil warlock, the Black Hood, comes to take their father's body as his new host. Their father tries hard to protect everyone, but the dark magic that he accepted from his old friend and mentor hurts him instead of helping. He's lost his fight and family. Throughout this epic journey, the siblings have to grow up fast in order to become strong enough to beat the enemy. They find new allies along the way, but suffer some fatal blows. This action-packed fantasy story will have you reaching for your Kleenex box more than once, as well as curled up in a ball laughing. You'll find yourself able to relate to the characters more so than in any other fantasy book you've picked up of late. What are you waiting for? Go pick up your copy of Kingdom Society, The Black Hood from author Nathan Helm today. It's available on Kindle Unlimited, ebook, and paperback forms on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy, even though we're about 15 feet apart. I've got this very, very long microphone.
We're social
cable.
Distancing in our house.
We were not when we were podcasting during COVID. We were right next to each other, but now I got this cold, and well, Kathy has a heart and lung illness, so a cold could make you sick.
I don't want to get sick.
So I stay far
spraying
away.
everything with Lysol here.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm really the reason that I'm kind of congested right now is the Lysol. I'm inhaling Lysol. It's like World War I here, with all the gas, but. I don't know. Okay, now we got some big news on President Trump today. And this is absolutely amazing. Okay? This is just insane. So this story with Trump is kind of buried, but it's big. Okay. And it involves both Facebook and Twitter. He's making some legal moves to get back on Facebook, but Twitter is where it really is at, right?
Yeah.
And Twitter has just, since Elon Musk took it over and clean house, has just exploded in usage. He put Trump back on, and Trump has.
Yeah.
Can you look and see how many followers Trump has right now on Twitter? Because a lot of people were off Twitter. They got back. I haven't checked in a while. And he has not tweeted yet.
87.7 million.
I mean, that's a lot of people. I mean, he really needs
It is a lot.
that audience and that platform. Well, listen to this. This is also in Breitbart today. Trump is probably coming back to Twitter. It's just a question of how and when, one Republican told NBC News. Trump has been talking about coming back to Twitter for weeks.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's been talking about it for years.
Yeah.
Oh, he's definitely going to go back. He has to when he's campaigning. He has to.
And Trump and his team are currently workshopping ideas for what his first tweet will say. Now, the thing about this, there's something going on with, contractually, it's been said, with True Social, his social media platform, and about him being able to tweet because of True. I don't know what's going on, but Trump is and I do believe this is true. Trump is working on a return to Twitter. If he knew Elon Musk was going to take over Twitter, he never would have started True Social. I
totally agree with
He
you
started
on that.
Truth because he didn't think there was any path for him back. And with over 80 million followers, he's got, and Twitter is very, very active with conservatives like it never has been before. Even when Trump was on, Twitter is more active right now with conservatives than even when Trump was on Twitter in the first place. It's very busy with conservative activity.
He's got to be back on it.
And he's just got to. So anyway, the World Economic Forum, I don't pay too much attention to the World Economic Forum typically, but this year it's a little comical, and there seem to be more Americans there than typical for the World Economic Forum, or at least top Americans that are pretty famous that we all know, and everything else. And of course, John Kerry, he made a comment yesterday that everyone's talking about, which I'm going to play. I played this morning. I'll play the John Kerry one, but I got some new ones from today that we got to get to. But John Kerry, it really explains the liberal elitist mindset of this country. This is John Kerry at Davos.
And when you stop and think about it, it's pretty extraordinary that we, select group of human beings, because of whatever touched us at some point in our lives, are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet.
Okay. So what John Kerry is saying here, people are laughing about this.
They should.
Well, it's not really funny because John Kerry is a big influencer over all of our lives through the World Economic Forum, the Biden government in D.C. And it's
anymore.
It's a revealing moment on how the establishment feel about us, the elite that run this country. He believes that he is a savior, like an advanced alien race of liberals came to the earth. You know, it's kind of like in the day that the earth stood still. He's like the guy in the day that the earth stood still. He's come to earth from another planet to save us from ourselves.
He might believe that.
He does believe it. And it's scary. You know, and I'll tell you what's scarier. He was almost president once.
Well, I just tweeted, they had somebody on The View today defending Joe Biden. And
Get out. Who?
It's shocking.
Jill, who was defending Joe Biden.
It's shocking. I was going to play it, who they have. I'll play it, see if you can
All right.
figure it out. Okay, let me turn up my volume
Yeah.
here.
Put the mic right up to the speaker at the bottom.
In special counsel, I think is absolutely appropriate. This case will hinge on his knowledge and intent. It looks like once he was aware of this, he did what I hope everyone would do, which was
I don't know
get
who
the
that
documents
is.
back to the government, cooperate in every meaningful way. I know it's natural to compare this to what the former president has done, where it looks like he wanted to keep the documents and is litigating that and fighting in the courts. What worries me with President Trump is that somebody who was willing to leverage $350 million of taxpayer money to get dirt on his opponent, as he did with the Ukrainians, if he has top secret documents in his possession, that he could leverage that for his own benefit. But again, I think treat them both the same. Yeah. Give independent analysis and independent scrutiny and see where it goes.
Why are they so careless?
I don't know who that is.
I mean, we're going to find stuff that Clinton left and that Nixon left and that Kennedy left and Eisenhower and FDR and
my favorite
George
tweet was
Washington.
that
Everyone's a suspect
Jimmy
now.
Carter is searching his residence, hoping he'll find classified documents.
Okay, so who do you think
I have
that is?
no idea who that is. They sound black.
No.
They're not
Eric
black?
Swalwell.
Get out of town.
Nope. Yep.
That's Eric Swalwell. He sounds
Yeah.
black.
No, well, that's not the point. This is a guy who slept with a Chinese spy.
Yeah.
And he's defending
Yeah.
somebody else who could be selling information.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, you got one spy defending another. What a joke. And
Yeah,
they have him on The
exactly.
View. You know, they're desperate
And
on
they
The
and they
View
and they
to
and they
defend
spy
Joe Biden.
and they spy for the same people, the CCP.
I mean, it's just incredible that he's, of all people, defending him. Of all people, who's been accused of sleeping with Chinese spies.
The Chinese, well, not we know
Or he has, yeah.
It's good.
He's defending Biden.
It's like China called him up and said, "You got to get out there and defend your co-spy, Biden."
The big difference is Trump was president. Biden was not.
When this happened. Yeah.
Right. Biden was vice president, and for him to take those documents was very illegal. Trump can declassify anything, and he did. He declassified
When he was
everything he
president,
had when
yeah.
he was president. That is his right as a president to do that. Joe Biden cannot. So that's a huge difference. And then the other difference is Trump, he wasn't hiding anything. He had his documents at his house in a locked room. You know, they act like he was hiding them in secret and all that. He said most of the stuff, it's Truth Today, that he kept a lot of the folders for some reason because they're like stamped classified. And he said a lot of what they found were just empty folders. And he said, I didn't have as many documents as the media wants you to think. It was very few, but I had a lot of folders that I kept for mementos. He probably maybe signs them and gives them to people, and it would say stamped classified on the folder only. But he said they probably counted those as documents.
Today, what they're trying to do now is saying they're trying to say now it's so interesting how the media are playing this thing, right? It came out over the weekend. These were Obama documents stolen from the Obama White House.
Of course.
So what some of the media are saying now is, well, Obama could just declassify them. Now, Obama is not president. He hasn't been president for years. He can't go around and declassify things anymore.
Well,
Trump declassified those documents while he was still president.
And have you noticed that Biden has not declassified those documents?
Yeah, that's true.
That tells you a lot. But what's interesting, too, that they never bring up, they keep saying as soon as they found them, they turned him over. Why the hell did he take him in the first place? That's what they're not addressing,
and also
on purpose.
If
it's not that he had them and turned them over, it's why did he have them in the first place?
If they were declassified today, they were still classified when he stole them. So
that's
the crime
right.
still happened.
And again, Obama has not declassified these documents yet, which is another question Peter Doocy should ask. Why hasn't Obama declassified these? Or, you know, to help, or is he doing anything to help Biden in this situation?
So let me get back to Davos here, okay? So we got the day the earth stood still, John Kerry, who's going to save us from ourselves. This is the chairman of the World Economic Forum, and he's talking about his goal to stop 1 billion people on Earth from eating meat.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah, that'll do good for all the cattle industry around the world. But listen to this. This guy, he's a real piece of work.
People are insane.
They are insane.
This is what Bill Gates is like, too. He's into that fake food.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very important point that you are addressing. My daughter, 24, inspired me and said, Dad, how can you...
That's all we need is another Greta Thunberg. We need children to run the world. If we only allowed the children to run the world...
So this is who's deciding the things is his 24-year-old spoiled daughter.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's probably one of those activists that throws paint on artwork.
My daughter, 24, inspired me and said, Dad, how can you advocate for these zero-carbon value chains if you still eat meat? And so I stopped eating meat. the math would say, well, you need to stop eating meat 11 years to compensate for a flight to Thailand.
Oh my God.
Yes, but if 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you, it has a big impact.
Yeah, bankrupts the cattle industry. Texas is out of business.
These people are on another planet. Like John Kerry, they're from another planet. Literally, he proved that point when he said that. They literally are from another planet.
Let me tell you, I don't care what anyone from Europe thinks the world should do. They brought us World War I, World War II, the Inquisition, the plague, the everything, okay? Not a lot of good. The only thing good that came out of Europe, the only thing good that came, it's true, the Black Death.
It's true. And slavery too, Brian. Don't forget slavery.
The only good thing that came out of Europe was the explorers that colonized the Americas and gave us this great country we live in. But they brought us slavery, you're right, Kathy, the Holocaust, and everything else. So
the Iraq War.
Exactly. And this guy's accent sounds like Hitler if he were speaking English. So I'm not really interested. So now this is a declaration made at the World Economic Forum.
It's like a religion to these people.
It is, yeah.
Dear friends, scientifically, this is not a climate crisis. We are now facing something deeper. Mass extinction, air pollution, undermining ecosystem functions, really putting humanity's future at risk. This is a planetary crisis.
Oh my God.
This is a safety crisis, but above all, it is also a justice crisis. Many areas in the world are uninhabitable. This uninhabitable zone is increasing.
It's increasing. What, the oceans? Because we can't live underwater? What is she talking about?
Maybe the desert.
The North Pole. Okay.
Antarctica.
Okay. I know a lot of people are showing the private jets, like 3/4 of the private jets on Earth are in Davos right now, and everyone's laughing about it. And it is funny, and I get it. However, if these lunatics thought that man-made activity was making the planet incapable of supporting life, right? Like they're talking about the uninhabitable areas are growing, which is a lie. But if they really believe that, would they fly in those private jets? They don't know. They would do everything on Zoom.
Exactly.
And instead of go there. So the jets being there isn't just a punchline. It proves that they know they're full of it, or they wouldn't fly there on the private jet. They don't even jet pool and take commercial.
But he stopped eating meat,
well,
Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are perpetuating a fraud. And it's a way, they keep using the word crisis. Crises are very lucrative for these world leaders and these countries. Very lucrative. And they have to have a reason for taking your money. They can't just take it without a good crisis to justify taking your money. And what they really want are global taxes. They really want to be able to impose a global tax to combat climate change. And that money, of course, goes into their pockets. And this is a money grab. They've been trying to do this for decades. And it still has not worked because, as I've always said, the weather doesn't agree with them. We're still having blizzards and cold weather and massive storms and all this stuff. I mean, snowstorms and things like that. They try to make it now it's climate change. It used to be global warming. Now they're trying to do climate change. But they're really just, it's a way to control people and it's a way to get money out of
people. And a lot
of
it is, listen, these countries that are there are little tiny countries that really don't have a lot of influence. So they have to band together to even try to be close to the economy of the United States. This is the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, okay? And her name is Christina Freeland. I never heard of her before. She's the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada. That sounds like a nothing job. But Vice President of the United States is a nothing job. Being the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada has got to be less than that.
Oh, yeah.
And she says we can learn some lessons from Zelensky. Listen.
Oh, my gosh.
There's a lot we can learn from what Ukraine is doing right now. And
what's stealing our money?
Is ultimately the reason that I think we should have a lot of confidence. I think Ukraine is teaching all of us, again, the true strength of democracy.
Okay, so wow. Ukraine is teaching us the true strength of democracy. They have outlawed opposition political parties.
That's right.
They have recently outlawed the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. So they don't have freedom of speech, freedom of political affiliation. They do not have freedom of religion.
Yeah.
But the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada thinks they're the model for democracy around the world.
Well, Zelensky's an actor, and he was put in that position by somebody higher up than him. He's playing a part. He's playing a part, don't you think? For some globalist organization. I mean, I hate to sound like a kook, but it is not an accident that this actor is in charge of this country. No. And then there's a war, and now they're raking in billions and billions of dollars of our money. Thankfully, that will stop now with the new House. Thank God.
So Al Gore is there, of course.
Of course.
And he is sitting down and having this one-on-one conversation. Well, there's others there, but it's really him and the president of Colombia, who's, and that's just what I want to know what the world should do as I go to South America.
Yes.
Which is a third world. Every country is a third world nation down there.
Oh, my goodness gracious. They don't even have clean running water in half these countries.
The only place that is in Latin America that is not the third world is Puerto Rico, and that's because we own it. The United States owns it. So this is Al Gore with the president of Colombia, and a lot of people think that climate change, global warming was caused by emissions and all that stuff. That's not the real reason.
Oh.
The president of Colombia knows what has caused, this is in Davos today, what has caused global warming, and it's not what we've been told.
Oh. And it's something that is not often mentioned, capitalism. Can the capitalism that we have known in the last 30, 40 years overcome the climate crisis that the capitalism helped create? It's a rhetorical question, but it also makes sense, because if the answer is no, then we're wasting our time as we reach the no return point. The capitalism that we know nowadays has a driving force and logic, and that is to increase our profits in such a way, and that's how we talk about history, to regulate everything.
Shouldn't the translator be able to speak English? The translator can even, you need a translator for the translator, but he's talking to Al Gore. Al Gore's got the headphones on, like in Judgment at Nuremberg.
Without political or social boundaries. And that's the one we have. This has resulted in some sort of global anarchy. We have individual capitalists who try to make the most profit, and this is linked to their capital and productivity. So to achieve more in less time, and productivity is linked to energy. And almost the only source of energy to increase profit is carbon, oil, and gas. Coal, oil, and gas. And this has resulted in a change in our atmosphere. We have to put an end to this if we wish to live in our planet.
Okay. So capitalism is causing climate change, global warming. We have to end capitalism to save the planet.
Well, you know what this is all about.
I'm all for this. This is the president of Colombia. I'm all for this. Let's stop buying Colombian coffee and Colombian weed. Okay?
And cocaine and
exactly.
all the drugs that come out of there. This is all about weakening America. They see America as the beacon of capitalism, and we are.
That's right.
And if they can get us to turn away from capitalism, then we will no longer be the superpower of the world. And that's what this is really all about, is weakening our strength on the global level. They want to make money off of other people. They don't want us to be making all the money. They want to enrich themselves. And if they were smart, they would become more capitalistic too and bring in companies and start producing things and make their country rich and their people rich. But their people are very poor. It's a third world country. I mean, all these people from South America are coming here. Why the hell do you think that is?
What's the carbon footprint for that?
It sucks in South America.
Because there's no capitalism.
They don't want to live. There's no jobs. There's no way to get out of poverty. I mean, capitalism has brought more people out of poverty than anything in the world. It's a system that works. Nothing's perfect. But why do you think everybody's coming here? Because they can make more money here mowing lawns and picking fruit trees than they can make.
That's right.
Or cleaning houses.
That's right.
That they can make probably in a month than they can make in a year living in South America. And they can get a better place to live most of the time. I mean, it's just better opportunities.
So all these clips are from Davos, the World Economic Forum. And then it was Al Gore's turn to speak.
Oh boy.
Yeah, here goes Al Gore.
It's got to be 100.
Yeah, and I want you guys to think about this. This lunatic. He
started all this.
This lunatic you're going to hear from right now.
Yeah.
150 votes in Florida kept this lunatic from becoming president of the United States in 2000. So that's something else. Listen to this.
And just to put the science in a slightly different context, people are familiar with that thin blue line that the astronauts bring back in their pictures from space. That's the part of the atmosphere that has oxygen, the troposphere, and it's only 5 to 7 kilometers thick. That's what we're using as an open sewer. If you could drive a car straight up in the air at interstate highway speeds, you'd get to the top of that blue line in 5 minutes.
Now, this is another one of the people that did not jet pool, doesn't fly commercial. He flew a private jet there, right? But we're treating the atmosphere.
He can fly his private jet through the atmosphere.
Well, he can treat the atmosphere like a sewer, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And all the greenhouse gas pollution would be below you. We're still putting 162 million tons into it every single day. And the accumulated amount is now trapping as much extra heat as would be released by 600,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs exploding every single day on the Earth.
Whatever.
That's what's boiling the oceans, creating these atmospheric rivers and the rain bombs. And
where are these rain bombs?
He sounds like a lunatic.
Where is the ocean boiling?
You know,
where is this happening?
If you read books,
what's a rain bomb?
I don't know. You will see that weather has not changed, but they want to tell you it's getting worse and worse. There were catastrophic hurricanes in the 1800s. Look at the storm that was in Galveston in 1904. It flattened, killed a bunch of nuns and kids at the orphanage. I read a book about it. Flattened the whole damn city. It was a Category 5. What about the hurricane that came here and destroyed the railroads? And all the people in the rail car, the Flagler rail car in the Keys that got killed back in the Gilded Age in the late 1800s. Hurricanes and storms are nothing new. Blizzards and all this stuff, they're a part of the natural weather pattern that happens on the Earth. People just happen to inhabit those areas where they have hurricanes. You know, when you move to Florida, you that's the risk you run. You live near the ocean. It's beautiful here. But hurricanes happen. Same thing in the Keys. You live in the Midwest, you're going to deal with tornadoes. Nature. You go live in Africa, you might get eaten by a lion. I mean, you live in nature, you have to deal with it. That's the way it is. But he sounds like a lunatic. They all sound like lunatics, and maybe they all think they're extraterrestrials.
They have two things in common.
Yeah,
they're all of them. They're lunatics
and liberal.
Well, three things, okay? They're liberal, they're lunatics, and they're all very, very rich.
And they all fly private planes.
And they all, four things. Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, we're all out of time. I got more stuff from Davos, but I can't listen anymore of this lunacy. I'm getting a headache.
Save it for tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. There'll be more tomorrow to talk about, I'm sure. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
Parents and grandparents, there's a thoughtful bedtime story that you will want to add to your child's reading list. From author John Clay, The Invisible Trap, an illustrated children's story about being aware of your emotions. The Invisible Trap is an allegorical story of a child who leaves the safety and comfort of home. Soon, he's overwhelmed by his new reality. Realizing he's all alone, he has to overcome his big emotions and gain clarity. This is a fantastic book to introduce children to the lifelong lesson of being aware and comfortable with emotions. The Invisible Trap is the effect that limiting beliefs have on our ability to function. This beautifully illustrated children's book embraces integrated psychological leadership theory and will help your child learn emotional intelligence as early as possible. Order your copy right now from author John Clay, The Invisible Trap, available in Kindle, hardcover, and paperback on Amazon.